What is going on, fight fans? We have to talk about the elephant in the room. And with this new June update, it looks like Steel City Interactive may have made that elephant a lot more noticeable. I'm gonna go ahead and tackle the big question in this video. This is Edward, and you're watching Boxing Fanatico. Alright guys, so here we are. We got some positive energy, but we also got a lot of questions that came from the June update. So the positive is that the June update, or the monthly update system, is still intact. It was pretty scary there right at the end of the month. Literally on the 11th hour, they released the June update, keeping the streak alive, which is great because at least we know that we're going to get some type of press release type update every single month, regardless of if things are happening in terms of new implementations or not. So this was the least informative update that we've received that I could remember from Steel City Interactive. There wasn't much said in this update, but that to me, in a very roundabout way, is a little bit of a positive. Every time they added something new, it was exciting. But at the same time, you have to think about, hey, if they're now implementing this new mechanic or this new system or this new integration, then they have to start building that in, start syncing that to the game flow, start putting that in and making it work flawlessly so that everything is like an orchestra. Everything just works together perfectly. And when that happens, there's a process there. And every time that was stated in an update, it made me feel, it gave me a bittersweet, more sweet, but bittersweet feeling, because I knew that that system now has to be implemented, put into the gameplay and work flawlessly. So there's a process that we may have to wait longer. The fact that they are no longer actively trying to put more content into it, or more systems into it, I'm fine with. I mean, we have taking a knee. They're going to have the referee integration. They're going to have a clinch system. I mean, the list can go on and on in terms of what we want, but with just those things, it's already somewhat revolutionary or very different and advanced from what we've seen in boxing games in the past. So I'm happy that they have those things, and I want them to just work on those things, and anything else that they want to do, you could do it post, early access release or whatever it is before the full release. But right now, I'm glad that they've ended all those kind of integrations and they're just working on what they have, because that gives me a better feeling of the game getting closer to beta. So with that being said, however, the June update did also hint or have an ominous tone to it. It did have an overall tone that things are getting bigger. What they expected in terms of what they were making is getting bigger. So kind of brace yourself for impact. And what does impact mean? Could mean a delay. But how do I feel? But here's the thing. When it comes to the game getting larger, or the game being bigger, a bigger scope, I think that goes without saying, because we already knew that from their previous delay. And just so you get a history of the actual delays that they have done, I'm gonna go ahead and break it down. And we also need to completely remove our heads from thinking that this is anything close to Hard Knock Live or Round for Round. It is not anything close to them. A lot of people are saying, we heard this before, or we've seen this before. Guys, this game has been at E3. We have seen alpha gameplay footage multiple times of this game. We've seen multiple images of this game. There are high-level partnerships and licenses like the WBC, like Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford and Lomachenko. It's connected with people like Todd Grisham. There's a huge infrastructure there, not to mention they have a Discord where you can literally communicate with the development team on a daily basis. Obviously, there are certain things that are under NDA that they can't tell us, but still you can communicate with them. This is so far removed from what we were getting from Round for Round and Hard Knock Live. Do not use Round for Round and Hard Knock Live as a history of breadcrumbs to prove that this game is also not coming out, because they have gone leaps and bounds and miles away from what we've experienced with Round for Round and Hard Knock Live. It would be crazy to me that with all of these acquisitions, with all of this integration, all of this money that's being poured into the game, with being on a show floor of E3, that the game just simply isn't really being made and they're not ever going to come out. So get that out of your head. Now, a delay, that is possible, because the ominous tone was, hey, this is getting bigger with the fighters that we're grabbing and et cetera, et cetera. So here's the history of the delay. The game was always scheduled to come out December of 2020. That was their initial target date. The game has started its mechanic building and its animations and its early build stuff back in 2019. They moved into 2020, but they were very, 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 very small. They had about 4 people attached to this project, and then they kept going. And all of a sudden, around the summertime, there was a video that came out, which was a video that put me off. I didn't even care for the game when I first saw their first trailer because it just looked really janky and didn't really look realistic at all. But then from there, they were interviewed by Forbes magazine, and then they came out with the 1024 trailer showing that they're being backed by a high-level animation studio. And by high level, I'm talking about the people who did Death Stranding, the people who are doing Hellblade 2. Like, these guys are really high level in graphics, and that got me excited, because now we're moving towards something tangible. Not to mention, they had revealed that they were teamed up with the WBC for the first time, and even Ring Magazine. So this was absolutely amazing. If they can team up with the WBC, and if the WBC can see something in them and partner with them, then we got something here. And that's when I started covering the game. Literally at that point, I started covering the game. And they were doing so many great things, talking about what they were going to do, how every jab was going to be different. And then they said, hey, there's going to be an alpha movement trailer coming out soon. And everybody was in the edge of their seats, because the only gameplay that we've gotten to this point was a WBC conference of people basically shadowboxing in the ring. But we wanted to see some type of one-on-one trailer. So we got a sizzle trailer that blew our freaking minds, because no one was even expecting the amount of love and care that they were going to give to the footwork, to that. So to see that showed that they had their heads in the right place. They had their minds in the right place, and they knew that they wanted this game to be a love letter to boxing fans all over the world. It wasn't just going to be a thing where you can punch somebody in the face and block. It was going to be a thing that was going to try to mimic the sport of boxing. So it was absolutely fantastic, but there were problems. There were problems with the punches, and I even vented my frustration on the punches. I'm like, the punches look very, very weird. Everyone's hands are down all the time. It just doesn't look good when it connects. It has a weirdness to it. And then they took those criticisms and worked on it. But once we started covering the game, once content creators started covering the game was getting good traction, and they were kind of partnering up with other people. They realized this December 2020 early access release with a Q1 full game release was nearly impossible, was actually impossible, because they had to rehaul a lot of what they were doing with the game to push it further into being more of a AAA title and less of an indie title. And that's what they did. They got more people, they pushed it, they worked on the punch mechanics. When they released the first videos of what the new punch system would be like, there was a few complaints from people, but my complaint that I saw was really only the speed of the punches. I didn't feel the speed mimicked real life well, but I did feel that the punch placements and the hand placements and the body movements and everything were on point to how realistic boxing is, to the realism of boxing. So I felt that was good, but just needed to enhance the speed. Then they came out with the Alpha Movement trailer, and that thing blew our minds, because everything we saw, the check hook, the movement, everything, the punches, the punching off of the back foot, everything looked fantastic. And then the May update came, and they told us, or was it the April update? One of those updates, I think it was the April update, and they told us that the release was going to be the summer. So they only delayed it the initial time for December, and then they went ahead and told us when it was coming out. There were a lot of rumors that it was going to come out Q1 based off of the game release being Q1, but that was never confirmed by them. That was just rumors created by us, the content creators, and you guys, and everybody, the community, essentially. So we moved on from that, and now summer is the new target date. But this last June update had an incredibly ominous tone of them still working hard with the team that they have. They reiterated that many times. So they may delay it, but if they do, this is probably the best way for them to go about the delay. For one, I still think that they should release the gameplay trailer, which that's what they're gonna do. They're almost doing that. They're just trying to get the okay from fighters that they're going to have appear on the game. But they should still give us a date at the end of that trailer. What that date should be is, even if it's delayed, even if you've delayed the game out of summer, give us the date of the exact date of the next, when it's of that delay, of the delay that you've created. If the delay is November 12th, say November 12th. If it's December 15, say December 15, early access, right at the end of the video. I'm hoping that it isn't delayed. I'm hoping that it isn't, because early access doesn't need all of the fighter integrations, but maybe they want to put specific fighters in it. I don't know. I'm hoping that it isn't delayed out of summer. But if it is, the best PR move that they can do is tell us an exact date, not just say it won't be the summer, it'll now be the winter. You can't do that, guys. You can't, because yes, we are going to be patient and we will be waiting idly by until the game comes out, because of course, you guys got it. You guys have the game that we want, and we're gonna wait for it. But you have to also think of the mass public and how much they're salivating for this game. If a delay is going to happen, it has to be within a specific date to it. It can't be with an open-ended time frame. And because it will be the second delay, I hope that you guys have already gotten everything together and that you guys just land that day without any issues. I know that you guys don't want to ever give specific dates, especially from the debacle that happened from the Alpha Movement trailer because of a licensing issue. You had to push that like a week, and then everybody went crazy, but you still released it. I know that that has been bothering you guys, but you got, if you're gonna delay it, just to soften the blow and the blowback that you guys are probably gonna get from a lot of people, I highly recommend you guys from Steel City Interactive to give us a specific date. It don't matter if it's November 20, just say November 20. It don't matter if it's December 15, just say December 15. That's all I'm asking you to do so that the blow can be softened. That's it. Well, hopefully it's not delayed. Regardless of the fact, I still think that we should get they should put the release date at the end for early access at the end of the video. But guys, this could be for nothing. Everything I'm saying could be for nothing, because even with early access specifically, it may be pushing back the full game release to implement everybody. But with early access, they don't necessarily need all of the fighters. And they've said that they won't have all of the fighters. They only said they were going to have like 30 or 40 fighters on early access. So we don't need all of that for early access. So maybe there isn't a delay for early access, but there is a delay for the full game release. If that's the case, that's better than nothing. And best believe, if you don't have a PC, your boy will be playing that game like crazy. Content will be insane amount of content nonstop every week from that game. Well, that's all I have, guys. I don't want to go on forever, but this is just something that I needed to vent and talk about, and I wanted you guys' opinion down in the comments section. What do you guys think about the game? Do you think that the June update is ominous to the fact that this may be delayed, or do you think that it shouldn't really affect the early access? Because what they stated was that the acquiring of the fighters is what's causing them to kind of get delayed a little, or causing it to be more difficult. But should that even have any bearing on the early access release? Let me know what you guys think. This is Edward from Boxing Fanatico, and I'll see you in the next one.